Just remember. Okay, so we're streaming. Hopefully our comments will start coming in.
Ten seconds. Two seconds.
That's right. It's the morning show right here on ABC News Radio, KMET 1490 AM. Join our live audience there, Facebook, Periscope TV, YouTube, of course, any other place you can get us. We appreciate you. Don't forget to download the app. It's free, KMET1490am.com. You can listen to us from anywhere you are streaming our service at. Speaking of streaming services, there's some pretty cool stuff out there. Let us know what you're watching, because I know a lot of us have a lot more time than ever before. We got Mr. Jesse Sanchez over there. Good morning, Jesse.
Good morning. And he does mean stream anywhere, because my brother likes to stream or watch this show from the bathroom for some reason.
It's not a bad idea.
The fact that he mentions it to me like that is, it's fun.
So he watches the show from his. I don't know that I want to know now. I have questions now. I
think it's his bathroom break at work.
Wait, don't even. Well, so okay, I got questions, but You know what? I often thought, wouldn't it be great if there was right there, like when you close it, like a heads-up display where you could see certain stuff, but then I don't know that you'd want to end. They're like, how come you're taking forever? So, but anyway, stuff happens behind the scene, right? But I was thinking you want to take a nice, those what do they call them? The jacuzzi / water. What do they call those?
Hot tub, bidet?
Yeah. Well, but not like wait, did you say a hot tub and a bidet? No. What I mean
about.
Those are two different things, but completely different things. Okay, we're all over the place. But look, here's the reality. We got lots of stories to talk about. And if you could watch your device anywhere, where would you watch it at? I sometimes think about old times when we had the little TV devices. And I don't know if you remember, they were black and white. They looked like a radio. Do you remember that, Jesse?
Yes, I remember those. I remember.
So, now we've got devices in our hands. We've got devices. I can't wait. We were talking behind the scenes about glasses. Remember the Google glasses? And I know we've done with Joel Prevost a little bit of an update of certain glasses. And I think this is kind of spawning from yesterday's conversation about technology that we wish we could see here and now. And Jesse, you were talking about one that I think would be pretty cool, especially when it comes to gaming.
Yeah. I kind of got the idea from an anime that I watched, but I would like to see more augmented reality, especially with stuff like glasses. Just put them on and the whole world becomes like a giant video game.
Yeah, I mean, or you could do level up stuff, right? Or what would be really cool, I think, if somebody's super rich. They did this. I don't know why this is coming to my head right now, but there was a book. It was the Treasure Trove, I want to call it. I think it was. And there was a billionaire, a gazillionaire. I don't know what he was. And he would hide certain jewels at certain places around the country. And you had to read the book. It was a real book, and you had to figure out the riddles. And in the book were particular. They were just. Go ahead.
I know what you're talking about. I know the talking. I think they only found 2 of his 10 treasures though so far.
That's it. Okay. Yeah.
2 or 3.
And there was clues, and I thought, wow, and they were worth a lot of money if you turned them in, right? It wasn't just jewels. They'd feed a family forever, really.
I don't remember, but I know that it's still going on. If you can find them and if you can turn it in, you can still get the prize for it if you can find it.
So I think that would be cool if they did an AR scavenger hunt, but I don't know if people gave up, but it was kind of like a map, a treasure map, right? And for those that don't know what we're talking about, it was a book which was a children's book, right? It was a children's book. And it was one where somebody, I don't know who it was, but put all of these jewels in particular places. and it was like real world slash in this children's book. And I don't know that it ever took off like 100%, but I remember reading it and trying to figure out the riddles, embedded in the pages. And it was just it was complicated because you have to be at the location and you have to go to the location. You got to see the location, right? And then you got to figure out which location is it? Is it in a hidden tree? But if they did that as a glass ability, like augmented reality, I think that'd be a good way to get people to want to buy it, right?
Right? That'd be cool.
So there you go. All right, people, we got lots to talk about. What are you talking about in social media? Let's go to the chat room right there. And let's see, we got Diana Carbajal. Thank you for tuning in. Says, good morning, Aaron, Jesse, and the Breakfast Club. Yes, that's what our team there is affectionately called. Cedric over there says, good morning. Penelope says, good morning as well. Thank you. Stephanie says, hello, happy editing this glorious day for today's awesome snowy, chilly day. Katya Wunderland says, good morning, everyone, with a little happy face, a heart face, and a kissy face. Thank you, Katya, all the way from Switzerland. Rosalie tuning in says, great morning, happy Tuesday. Ted saying, morning, Ted. Appreciate you. Let's see. Elia Esparza says, good morning, and good to see you, Elia. Haven't seen you in quite some time. Hope you're keep it safe over there. Penelope over there says, I'd prefer to watch it on the sands of the beach. And you know what? I can see that. That would be pretty kind. Let's see. Judy over there says, good morning, Aaron and everyone. Good morning. All right. So we got lots to talk about. But first, let's discuss the future. It's kind of spawning off of yesterday's discussion. We were talking about some cool technology devices that you think should come out in the coming years or years ahead, because I think when we put our heads together, we always find out what we really want. And Jesse, I'd like to kind of continue the conversation about like games and your situation of if you were able to create a perfect reality, whether it be a virtual reality or whether it be just a cool game, what kind of reality would you create?
Oh, it would most likely be some type of like fantasy orientated game. Maybe, I don't know, something having to do with dragons, because I would love to see a dragon run around the city.
Wait, like in your city, or just like on your Google Glass, or your
no, not in real life.
Because I think that would cause a lot of problems. I think
yeah, no. In the Google Glass, because we've all seen Reign of Fire where dragons take over the world. Well, most of us have.
I have it.
You haven't seen it? It's a good movie. It has Matthew McConaughey in it.
Oh, I like that guy. I haven't. Oh, wait. No, I don't think I saw that. Or it was a long time ago. Hey, speaking of movies, by the way, can we switch gears a little? Zack Snyder, DC's very own. What's going on over there?
Yeah, I recently heard that they're coming out with a trailer for the new Zack Snyder cut for the Justice League. Mm-hmm. For many of you that don't know about it, they're actually redoing the Justice League movie, which is quite interesting and I think a first in that's happened like this before, considering the movie came out 2 years ago.
Has it been only that long? I feel like it's been longer, but I agree. I did not care, to be honest, for the movie. And I say that for a couple of reasons. There are a couple actors I didn't really care for their casting choices, but I loved Aquaman. Awesome. I loved, obviously, Wonder Woman in there. I love Cavill as Superman. I just didn't feel Batman was given the right character. But other than that, I felt that movie was so half done, but I didn't know as much as Jesse. It kind of was half done.
Yeah, what a lot of people don't know is Zack Snyder had to step away from production of the movie because of a horrible family tragedy. But like, if you deal with a suicide in your family or just in general, I don't think you'll be in the right mindset to finish a movie. So what they should have done was let him grieve, and then come back and finish it instead of rushing it with Joss Whedon and just putting a movie together.
Yeah, and I didn't know that. I remember them saying they had a director's cut, but I really wasn't interested to see it. But I understand the latest update is that they gave him more time to be able to do it the way he really intended to do it, right?
Yeah, from what I've been hearing, I think they gave him like an extra 30 or 35 million, which is crazy. And I'm not sure if they're going to turn it into two movies. I also heard that they're going to turn it into a miniseries. So hopefully, I'm shooting for 6 hours because the way he's describing it, it's the only way he's going to do it because it's such a monumental thing. And they cut out a lot. They cut out Cyborg. They wanted to add in the Martian Manhunter.
Ooh.
I think he wanted to add in Darkseid and a bunch of other stuff that he didn't
Oh.
finish. So hopefully this works well. And I don't want them to go back and start redoing movies though, kind of like the Suicide Squad. I hated that movie.
Did you pay good money to go see it?
No, I didn't, thank God. But it was just whoever wrote it, it was just they chose the wrong villains, the villain or and then the Suicide Squad people. It was just it felt more like the studio wanted something big name actors and just rush it.
Yeah, and sometimes that happens, and I'm all for new content coming out because right now everybody with more time than normal, they're looking for good stuff to see. So I think right now is a great time to bring that out. I don't know when they're going to release that. I hope they do so sooner than later, and I'm pretty sure at least a lot of people are appreciative of good content, stuff that keeps them happy, things that like you can say, okay, that wasn't so bad. So I'm open to seeing it eventually when it comes out. It's also a good time to spend, with the family, right? I don't know if it's like PG-13 and or rated R, but I know some people want to watch like the rated R version, and then there's like a PG version. I always wish that they had like a little device that is able to like, okay, we want it for the family, but we don't need this, like it's meant for kids, but it's not necessarily, it's more adult content, you know what I mean? But there's some cool stories that should have like a PG version. Okay, this is for the family, and then later you can be like, okay, what was the rated R version? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because there's so much time right now for families to be able to spend together and kind of, correlate and have fun and entertainment, sometimes some of the better things to be able to do together as well. Quality time, right? All right, we need to take a break here on the morning show. When we get back, we got more stories coming up. Coronavirus updates, that's a thing. Ugh. But we got to deal with it, get over it, and then move on eventually, hopefully sooner than later. Some hope out there, but also cautionary tale. We'll be right back right after these messages with more. Stay tuned. All right. Let's see here. What's going on in the news?
Oh, I got some more information about the that treasure hunt thing that you're talking about.
Yeah, what was it called? Treasure Trove, right? Or something like that?
The book is called The Secret, a treasure hunt.
Is that the one?
And there are 12 paintings or like pictures and poems, and it tells you the location kind of thing. Only 3 of the 12 have been discovered.
That's a different one.
Oh,
No,
well then.
no, that's probably a good one too. But there was one. It was more of a children's book. That looks like pretty.
Oh, you're googling it now. Yeah, The Secret. Treasure hunt.
Yeah, here it is. A treasures trove
10
project jewelry.
Ooh.
Maybe they didn't do anything with it. I don't know. Oh, I see. Yeah, you're right.
2 seconds coming back.
That's the secret. That's right. It's the morning show right here on ABC News Radio KMET 1490 AM. Joining our live stream audience there, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Periscope TV, and of course, wherever you're tuning in. We appreciate you. Lots of stories to talk about, including this one. When it comes to coronavirus, a lot of people going, what's going on with that exactly? People having questions, what's going to go on in the next coming days? Lockdowns, are they going to happen more often than not? And then every now and then you have somebody saying, hey, don't worry about it. It's okay. We could just fight it and don't even bother. Like this one. Somebody's thinking, I don't even want to say what he's thinking, but a particular doctor under fire for telling Michigan to rise up against COVID-19 restrictions. And you got to ask, how long has it been since, I don't know, coronavirus kind of has been going on? And how many deaths do we have to see in order for people to say, yeah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's kind of like, okay, are we going back to March idea madness? So let's not do that. And let's follow those that actually know what they're talking about, because sometimes you have people that, they like to spread false rumors and they're just not real. So let's look at the facts. And if you have coronavirus in your vicinity, maybe don't listen to certain people that say, oh yeah, just, don't worry about the restrictions. It's not a big deal. Restrictions, sometimes when you use that word, people think of restriction as a bad thing, right? They're like, oh, I don't want to be restricted. But a better word probably is one, safety protocol, right? If you have a safety protocol in place, that means it keeps people safe. But the moment you use restriction, well, people just don't like to be restricted. So, I mean, when you hear that word, Jesse, right, what does that make you think?
Yeah, it makes me think that you're telling me I can't do something.
Yeah, and people hate that.
Yeah, they do.
So and I get it. I get it. Sometimes people don't consider the type of words or verbs that they use, because then they'll create problems, right? They'll create problems for themselves. They'll create problems for everybody. And so you just got to be careful out there. All right. Let's see. Also in the news, I'm looking at this one. World news. There's lots of new news going on there, but Russia, how bad is it? Packed morgues and deaths are showing that the official numbers are a lot worse than they currently were making it. And according to this, there's so much information coming in. We have to review it before we actually get into it. So let's do this. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll find out some of the info that's there, especially here, well, and around the world. We'll be right back right after these messages. Stay tuned. All right, if you're tuning in for the very first time, this is our break where we just kind of discuss whatever. But if you have a story you'd like to bring up or something that you feel would be appropriate to speak about, then please do bring so in our social media chat room. There's several ways you can find us: Facebook, Twitter. Let's see. You can find us on Twitter, Aaron M. Sanchez. On Facebook, Aaron Michael Sanchez is the official check mark. Just go ahead and like that and follow all the cool, fun stuff there. And let's go to the social media comments. Let's see. Judy over here. We'll save that for the coming back moment. Rosalie. I like her question. Did you see what she said, Jesse? Oh, I can't hear you, buddy.
Oh, what did she say?
Godzilla.
Oh no, he don't come out till December.
No, I think she meant like going across like like in real life. Remember, you're like talking dragon. It's like Godzilla. Remember?
Yeah, Godzilla will come out from the sea in next month. That's our Christmas 2020.
Good to know. Okay, well, I'm glad we're updated on that. That's gonna be interesting.
Like, what's the worst thing that could happen? Oh, don't say that.
Not Godzilla. No. I love that movie. I liked it when it was, well, the last one was good.
10 seconds.
But when it was just a guy in it, that was more fun, you know?
Yeah, it was cheesy fun. I liked it.
It was cheesy fun. Yeah.
2 seconds. Yeah.
Doesn't really disturb me. That's right. It's the morning show right here on ABC News Radio, KMET, 1490 AM. Joining our live stream audience there, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TV, as well as LinkedIn. And we appreciate each and every one of you for joining us. Got lots to talk about here on the morning show. Before I actually went to break, I talked about Russia, and their numbers are pretty staggering. They're still trying to figure out what the numbers are exactly. And that's the worst part. When you have certain countries that make it like, oh, no, we're good. And then all of a sudden you see the results, you say, you're not that good. So obviously Russians there are taking a lot of issue with what is actually being reported on, which is why it's so important to have a free press, be able to give the information out that is actually happening versus, being told, well, no, this is the press that we're going to want people to know. So good job, everybody, of course, checking out the news headlines and staying awake and aware of what's going on in your own personal part of town. Because obviously on this world, obviously we got to ask ourselves, well, what are we going to do next, right? What are we going to do? What are we going to focus on next? How are we going to pull through whatever it is that we're currently going through? I talked a little bit about that here on the morning show, on the after show program, after we do our hour here at ABC News Radio, KMET, 1490 AM. So if you want to join me there, I'm going to have another discussion after. You can find me. Just look for the official check mark on Facebook, Instagram, IGTV. I haven't put too much on there as of late. Sometimes I put certain interviews there. Periscope TV is on Twitter. You can watch it there. Aaron Michael Sanchez, look for the official blue check mark as well. And then, of course, YouTube, look for the morning show right there. And you can subscribe, add your subscription there. Pretty cool. And LinkedIn, very simple. Just find me, Aaron Michael Sanchez. A lot of ways you can actually tune in. And of course, Jesse Sanchez, you can find as well as online, and you can follow him right there on all social media platforms. I don't know if he accepts all friends on his friend request situation there. Do you, Jesse?
Oh yeah, I always accept friend requests. The only time I just deny them is when it looks suspicious.
How do you mean suspicious, Jesse? What's a suspicious profile that you think is highly suspicious?
Well, mainly the profiles that don't really have anything posted or shared, and they have one picture.
Oh God.
And they started like a week ago. So yeah, those are weird profiles to me.
I get a lot of those, unfortunately, and sometimes I'm kind of questioning. I go, maybe they're real, maybe they're just private. Because sometimes some people put their stuff on hideaway, right?
They do, and I feel bad.
And then, well, sometimes I accept them and then I go, nope, they're still fake. And then I delete them, right? But if you have a Facebook profile, there's a way to actually do it. All you do is go to your settings in there, bring up followers, and you can bring up your followers. And then you could do so where it's anybody can follow you. Technically, if you have a profile and or the page, everybody follows you, right? But your profile could be a little different. And if you share only stuff with your family, you don't want everybody in on that, then, I say always create multiple profiles. And that way you have one for your family members, you have ones for, your work, if that's what you do. And, or maybe you're building a brand and, or an image and you want to do a little bit more with your social media profile, but turn on followers. And then you can have more people following you. And I recommend that for you, Jesse, just because I know, people are like, who's Jesse? This guy's amazing. So there you go. Lots of chat in the chat room, speaking of which we pull conversations all from all the other different platforms. So there's not just one. If you're watching on one where there's only like 3 people, that's because you just aren't part of the fun on all platforms, like we could see. So let's say we got Judy over there who says, listening from my mama's Isabel Garcia's home, loading dishwasher, finishing cleaning pantry. Look at her. She's like super busy while listening to the show. I appreciate you more than you know. And Rawlings, Wyoming. Thank you so much, Judy. Appreciate you. Rosalie says Godzilla. I don't know. Is Godzilla possibly in our VR headset, Jesse? Is that what you'd like to program? Or is there like a cool scenario where you'd be like, I don't know, again, fantasy, not real. And there was this like, particular movie that you really liked that you're like, you know what? I'd like to kind of relive that.
Honestly, there is a movie that would be really cool as an AR game.
What is it?
Do you remember the movie Starship Troopers?
Oh boy, I do. Yeah. That was an interesting movie. What did you like about that movie?
It was an interesting movie for a lot of reasons, mainly because to vote, you have to join military service, which was quite interesting. But mainly the fact that a whole planet full of giant bugs, that's major creepy. I don't even like little bugs. I don't want something that's like 8 feet tall that's gonna run at me.
Yeah, nobody wants an 8-foot tall giant of any sort to run after them. So yeah, no, I get it. And you know what? I took issue with that movie a couple times, but it was a fun flick, and I think the good thing about that film and every film is it kind of makes you think, oh, wait, what if that were real? What if there was a species that was so smart that I think, because at the end of it, didn't they realize that the insects there were just trying to get along, but somebody like caused war, even though they weren't supposed to?
Ooh, I don't know.
Or was that part 2? I can't remember, but I just remember he was like, wait, the Doogie Howser guy, I can't remember his name. He was like, no, because he had the ability to like read the thoughts, remember? And he's like, no, they're not trying to come at us. They need peace. They're just trying to defend themselves. So there you go. So you got to be careful. Don't always think just because they look different than you, all of a sudden they're trying to take over your world. So very important, again, if they had had that conversation ahead of time, because I think that was the end of Starship Troopers, the first one. But then I don't know. There's different factions. You got to be careful of the bad guys and or really evil guys that just want to do all bad. But let's see. Algenia says Batman was short chain. I've never heard that word, but I believe that means awesome, right? So let's see. Oh no, that's terrible. Okay, we just got some bad news from Algenia. She says my cousin just died from it at age 40, and she's talking about coronavirus, I'm assuming. And Algenia, I really, again, our heart goes out to you. If I could say anything encouraging, all I could say is be careful. Just be careful. These are the moments which pains our heart to hear those stories, especially because they're so personal and so real, which is why it really infuriates me when other people around the world end up making it as though it's just not real, or, oh, you don't need to be that careful. So I do apologize again, Algenia, for having to say this, but I hope you could find some comfort with your family, and please, our deepest sympathies to you and your family. And then I don't even know where to go with that, Jesse. Whenever you hear that, it's like, I don't want to switch gears entirely and be like, oh, I'm sorry, that doesn't matter, because it does matter. Back to families and our friends and those that are closest to us, and sometimes even ones we don't even talk to quite often, right? Everybody's going through their own challenge. I do have some questions as to, how bad it got, but not for the and obviously dying, but I mean, like, did she get the necessary help when it came to the hospital? Or because there's so many different stories about that, right? Hospitals and people that need, doctors, need nurses. I think we need to speed that up so that we have more doctors, more nurses, more people that can take care of the very sick amongst us. Because people are getting sick. People are, unfortunately, viruses are going around. And if they get sick and if they die, what's next? So we got to take care of those of us that are currently going through this situation. And we have to be careful. And when you have supposed doctors saying, nah, just fight against the restrictions. Well, there's certain restrictions I understand to be okay. Like, for example, 6 feet away. Okay, maybe you end up 3 feet away. I've seen people get so upset, being like, no, you're supposed to be 6 feet away. Hey, are we both wearing a face mask? Okay, sometimes, you know what I mean, Jesse? Have you ever been out in public and you're kind of like, sorry, I didn't mean to infuriate you?
No, I tend to stay away from people. And there are a few times where I went to Smart and Final, and this woman, she had all of her kids. I think there was like 3 or 4. Yeah, they were not 6 feet apart, and I was just like, get off my butt.
Okay, because you felt a little like, wait a minute, right?
Yeah.
Personal space is what I call it. So I remember being in line one time, and I was in line, I think, oh man, and there was somebody so close to me. I'm like, they need to back off, but I don't think they knew how close they were. Does that make sense? I'm like, at least a 3-foot personal space is good. And that's just for, even if you don't have COVID, right? You might have just, who knows, just, people like a little space. And then if you're family friendly, of course, okay. But if you're a stranger, back up. I don't want you that close to me, right? That's called, it is what it is. So there you go. All right, people, we're going to take a quick break here on the morning show. We appreciate you. We'll be right back right after these messages with more info. All right, for those of you tuning in, let us know where you're tuning in from. Let's see, Nashville. Cedric is tuning in. Nashville, Georgia. Good to see you over there. And let's see. Yeah, Algenia says this. Take all precautions as necessary. Please wear the face mask. Rosalie says this. Jesse, your game, you want to play with dragons in the city, or was he a lizard? Can't hear you, by the way. Sorry.
Oh, no. Like, I think she was saying, like, would I rather have dragons or Godzilla? I would not want to have an augmented reality game about Godzilla. How do you fight that thing? That thing's huge.
I don't know. You have to be one of the other guys, right? Or you are Godzilla trying, because wasn't Godzilla technically the one trying to save the world? But he kind of stepped on things a little too much.
Yeah, he did. It's like, oops, my bad, people.
Yeah. I mean, technically, aren't they both lizards?
Yes.
So there you
No,
go.
I don't
Dragons,
know.
drag aren't dragons
But
kind of,
dragons aren't real.
but are they?
That's true. That's
All
why
right.
I think the Starship Troopers would be better because they're like, oh, the insects have infiltrated the city.
I
You
think
have
some insects would take issue with that. I'm just saying. Be like, some insects, excuse me, how about humans taking over our planet? Imagine, like, oh,
right.
wait, you guys do that now. Oh, no. Right? You kill the bees. Ah, bees. Oh, we got to
Yep.
save the planet.
Yeah, we do.
It's funny when you reverse roles, huh? All of a sudden, everybody's like, wait, what? They get offended. No.
2 seconds.
All right. Welcome back. Yes, it is the morning show right here on ABC News Radio KMT 1490 AM. Joining our live audience there, whatever streaming device you're on and or mobile platform, we appreciate you. We appreciate you more than you know. If you're tuning in for the very first time, let it not be your last. We're switching gears up a little from the average news because let's face it, no matter what the news is, it's just all bad here in the world. So let's focus on a topic I think that we should all at least look forward to, and it is this. Are you currently grieving? Are you currently suffering from a loss of somebody that you recently found out may have died? Because I know a lot of people are just lately finding out about their loved ones, and some, get so preoccupied with their own existence. Sometimes they start, maybe it's Facebook, maybe it's another platform, whatever platform that is. All of a sudden you learn and you go, what? I can't speak with them. And that right there is very difficult to have to process. So difficult that a lot of people end up saying, well, you know what, then what's life worth living, right? So here's what I say about that. It's difficult. It just is. Do I believe that there is more than this life that we're currently living? I do. I believe that there's a lot more when we end up moving forward, right? And what I mean by that is wherever we move forward to, whatever life we move forward to, we have to remember, whatever your belief system is, whether you believe or don't believe, that we don't stop living. Our consciousness continues moving on in whatever shape or form it is. And because of that, it's so important to be able to remember, as much as that may be a difficult process to think about, it's so important to remember at the end of the day, we're in it together. And those of us that are currently in the same boat and or just, we have to remember this isn't all there is, right? Do what you can when you can with what you have in the moment and keep pushing forward, because let's face it, those that we've lost, they would want you to keep pushing forward, keep moving forward, and keep busy, but never forget them, and don't forget the memory, because maybe one day you get to see them again, and maybe one day you'll be able to say, hey, oh my goodness, let's catch up. A lot of different belief systems out there, whatever belief system they are. Sometimes people forget about that. Sometimes people forget, well, maybe the one day I can see my loved one again. Maybe I can see, my father again, or my mother again, my cousin and or my uncle or my nephew or my niece or whoever that family member is. Oftentimes it's the family members that we lose. And, for the rest of us that sometimes have our family members, sometimes we forget to say, hey, I appreciate you today. And I appreciate whatever time I have with you, no matter how long it is, right? Because we all sometimes have a limited amount of time. Some of us would love to think we're forever, but sometimes you're not. Sometimes you have the families that you have currently, and you just like, it's difficult. It's a difficult time. But just remember, people, stay safe. And of course, remember each and every day of life that you have, whatever life it is that you have, remember it is a gift. We're going to take another quick break. We'll be right back right after these messages. Stay tuned with more. All right, people, I appreciate you. Coronavirus, it's alive and well. Unfortunately, bleh. Who wants that? So let's see. Texas is exceeding 20,000 virus deaths, which is the second highest in the U.S.
The loss of any life is always a bad thing.
Yeah, it's again, Algenia, our hope is again, your family finds I don't know what to say to that. I really don't, because it's like, what do you do when you lose somebody you love?
It's hard.
I remember hearing somebody who had died, and it was like 8 months after they had died. I'm like, what? But I never spoke to them on a regular basis. So sometimes you hear through the grapevine, right? And you're like, okay, well, that's interesting. You're going to have to process that, right?
Yeah.
All right, let me bring you up on the screen here. Let's see.
We have 1 minute.
Jesse, I believe Godzilla was a
Iguana? Monitor lizard? What?
Is that what that is?
Do you know what a monitor lizard is?
I don't. Yeah, let me bring that up the comment so people don't think.
It's like a Komodo dragon.
Oh, yes, that's right. That's right. That's right. And he his
30 seconds. But in the newer ones, I think he's more like an ancient monster or something like that.
Yeah, I think they kind of morphed it into something a little bit more realistic, but the original one wasn't really like that, was it? Well, it was always a nuclear thing because it came from Japan, right?
Yeah, it was like supposed to show the dangers of nuclear radiation and stuff like that. That's right.
That's right.
We have 5 seconds.
It would mutate, and it was a bad thing. It wasn't usually a good thing. It's
Coming
never
back.
a good thing, really. That's right. It's the morning show right here on ABC News Radio, KMET 1490 AM. Joining our live audience there on whatever platform you're on, we appreciate you. Lots of stories coming in, including this one. Coronavirus. Yes, Texas surpassing 20,000 confirmed coronavirus deaths. That is as of Monday. The COVID-19 is continuing to surge in the United States. It's the second highest death count in the U.S., trailing New York. According to researchers from Johns Hopkins University, it's the 22nd highest per capita at 69.7 deaths per 100,000 people. So far, Texas leaders have given no indication of restrictions to keep people from gathering and spreading the virus. Instead, Republican Governor Greg Abbott in recent days has been emphasizing that new therapeutics and vaccines are expected to become available soon. A state appeals court last week sided with Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton and lifted a local shutdown order in El Paso, where mobile morgues were being trucked in to help overwhelmed hospitals and funeral homes. The El Paso County Morgue reached out to the El Paso Sheriff's Department for help after it became overwhelmed. That was according to El Paso Sheriff's Department Public Affairs Director Chris Acosta. Inmates of the county's detention facility was asked to help for a stipend of $2 an hour. According to Acosta, 4 and 8 participants of the detention facility's trustee program have volunteered daily since November 9th. She said they are accompanied by a sheriff's deputy and 2 detention officers and are provided with personal protective equipment. The volunteers are minimum custody inmates with misdemeanor offenses, and their volunteer service is temporary since they're waiting for the National Guard to take over. So there you go. Interesting news there. And in reality, look, I take issue with people that just don't want to do what's right. It's obvious, and I get it. Each and every state is governed differently. Since the beginning, it's been like that, really, lately. And you've seen a lot of different things. I remember, Jesse, you're kind of asking me, how does it work, right? The governor, who tells the state what to do? How does it go from top down? And I mean, we had some questions on that, but in reality, and I know people take issue with what Governor Newsom did here in, the state of California. However, I mean, out of curiosity, do you think maybe it would be smart to implement, I mean, at least some safety protocols there, or just kind of throw caution to the wind there? I don't know.
I think any safety protocols are good, but I think there's you can go overboard, which I think he kind of is at the moment.
Overboard? Which way do you mean?
Well, I think I was what was it? It's just fact that he's closing down places, okay? And yet and he says that you guys can't get together at a party, and
Oh,
yet
you're talking about Newsom, not Texas Governor Abbott. Yeah.
No, I don't know anything about Texas governor.
Oh, yeah. Well, let me back up on that. Just Governor Abbott of Texas, from the very beginning, was like, nope, it's okay. Don't worry about it. And I know because I knew entertainment professionals that were like, let's go live in Texas, right?
Really?
Yeah, because, they wanted to work. So Texas was still doing production. And I said, yeah, but what if it gets really worse? What if it gets not as, I mean, because there's no safety protocols at the very beginning. They're very limited because he didn't want to put any safety protocols in place at first. But now you're starting to see at the highest.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad, and I hope that, the family that wanted to move there didn't move there because, they've got the little one, they got other ones. And I'm just saying, I feel bad for those in Texas currently, but no safety protocols versus too many safety protocols, like what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, but that's what I was saying about Texas, Governor Abbott. But you were saying something about here in California, which is a different governor. And do you care to expand on that?
Well, yeah. Okay. So we've have all these safety protocols, right, for California, and yet our rise is going up. Texas didn't have any protocols, yet their rise in COVID cases is going up. So I don't know. It's like, what do you do? I have no idea.
Yeah, but you shouldn't be the first one at the top, is my point. So, but look, you got to find a middle ground, and there are some excessive protocols out there. I'm not going to tell people what it is exactly, but there's minimum things you could do, right? Wear a face mask. That's pretty simple.
Right.
And if everybody's wearing a face mask when you go out, that might prevent at least a little. It doesn't eliminate. We always keep talking about just protocols that make sense. Okay. There are some that are a little extreme. I know, I get it. And then there's some that, well, if one person has it, they're not so extreme all of a sudden, right? Like large gatherings where you're all in a confined space, like, I don't know, maybe travel has been talked about as of late here, that, certain universities are saying to students, you might not want to travel home for the holidays just yet. But then you go, well, how does that make sense? I mean, do you take a car or a vehicle and, take a cross-country trip, but you're not safely back in time? I don't know. I got questions that need to be answered, but people want to spend time with their friends and family. Speaking of which, what are you thankful for coming up? Because, of course, Thanksgiving being the thankful season. Anything you'd like to share, Jesse?
I'm thankful for my friends and family and them being safe. I'm also thankful for this show because I just like coming here every morning and just chatting with everybody.
I know it's a family, right? The Breakfast Club family is alive and well. What are you guys thankful for as well? We'll be asking in the coming days. I think it's important each and every day to, at least if you are having a moment where you're like, oh, I'm just frustrated, I hate life, blah, blah, blah. And you're just say, whoa. What can I be thankful for? I've we talked a couple times today about suicide in different situations. And whenever you are in that position, I always say, it's hard to pull yourself out of that if you're starting to go through that. But each and every day, try to wake up with the thought of, okay, I'm going to at least try to think of 3 things that I'm really grateful for. Even if they're kind of, I've seen some go, okay, I don't want to be grateful for anything. And I say, all right, just pick 3. One says, all right, well, I'm grateful for Taco Tuesday, right? Great. If that's your moment of gratefulness, be grateful for that. If all of a sudden it is something a little bit up the chain, where you're like, okay, maybe it's not food. Maybe it's not something that makes me happy to eat. Maybe it's just, getting to talk to somebody that I didn't get to talk to for quite a while. Maybe it's that, or whatever it was in the day, either in the same day. Sometimes it may be in the beginning of the day. Maybe it's at the end of night before you go to sleep, right? And you're like, okay, well, before I turn in, I want to think of 3 great things that happened today because the rest of it was terrible. And you find, oh, I don't know, maybe you know, save somebody just by giving them an encouraging word. And sometimes you don't even know who you're helping out. Sometimes you don't even know. But whatever it is, we appreciate you. We are running out of time here on the morning show. But what are you grateful for? We'll share that around the corner. Follow me on Facebook, Aaron Michael Sanchez, Twitter's Periscope as well. Aaron Michael Sanchez, just look for the official check mark. All social media platforms pretty much. And if we're not on one that you think we should be on, send me a private message and we'll see if we can get on that. All right, people, we appreciate you. We love you, and make it a great day. Whatever you do, remember, life is worth living. Live it well. Bye-bye, everyone. All right. And for the rest of you tuning in, I do appreciate you. Let's go to the social media chat room there, because I think we started up a good conversation, which I really like to hear everybody's current situation. Whatever your situation is, share it with us. All right. We got people tuning in from all over the place. Let's see. We've got Earth over there. Let's see. All right, I'm going to bring this one up. Let's see. Here we go. Sorry for anyone who lost a loved one to COVID. My sister-in-law's brother passed due to COVID 4 months ago. It's horrible. My heart goes to everyone. And Diana, thank you for sharing that. You know, she's right. There are so many ones that I've been hearing as of late that have lost somebody that they love due to COVID. And some others are losing people not even due to COVID, but maybe they can't get to the hospital because the hospitals are currently overrun with sick patients and they have to take priority, usually with one of several different debilitating diseases. And whatever that disease is, of course, we always wonder, well, what are you going to do next, right? What are you going to do to be able to minimize the amount of hospitalizations so that, you know, if they're overrun with too many people, obviously nobody wants to get sick from COVID. 19 or any other disease, so everybody wears at least a face mask to minimize that, right? But there's others that throw caution to the wind. You kind of wonder, do they want people to die? That's not exactly what we want for people. We want people to live and continue living. So anybody spreading a bad idea like, oh, no, it's okay, people, don't worry about it, it's fine, don't worry about it, just pretend it's going to go away. That's the type of mentality we keep having to work against here, you know, and that's a problem for everyone, because you got to focus on people staying safe, people living as long as they can live safely, humanely, and the like. So there you go. All right, let's see. Let's scroll up a little here. I missed a lot of comments here. Hold on. Let me all right, let's go up. Yeah, let's see. I'll bring this one up. Some humans are insects taking over our planet. Well, look, and look, no truth to the rumor. I once was visited by a lot of bees at one point, and I didn't know what was happening. And, you know, unfortunately, something happened. And I guess a neighbor or somebody sprayed a toxic chemical and ended up killing them when I was trying to save them because they suddenly came into our house. And anyway, that's never been stung by a bee here, you could be allergic and you could die from it, right? And I was not the first one to be like, let's test that theory out, right? So, but, you know, these bees didn't sting anybody. And unfortunately, it was a situation that, you know, should have been avoided, but it wasn't. And unfortunately, there's services out there. If you are ever in the need of thinking, look, we need to save a species of some sort, you know, there are services out there that save bees, right? And we need bees on our planet to help save the environment, right? It's called pollination, keeping the flower. They have a whole role to play. And sometimes people forget about roles that insects have, all different types. There's so many there's so many things that they do, right? And sometimes you got to be careful over there, because I'm sure on the flip side they're like, yeah, what are humans doing? Well, so, but there's good humans and there's bad humans, and then there's just downright evil humans, right? So be cautious out there, and look, you just got to be careful with whatever you're doing. So there you go. But remember, people, Starship Troopers is a movie, not real life. So there you go. All right, let's see. Let's and here we go. No, we already did that one. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Sorry, I'm looking at all these comments, seeing which one we can go to. All right, this comment, let's see. All right, this comment, very interesting. Earth says, I thought God heals. Why has it flipped to Gates vaccination? Well, and, interesting conversation on that. The reality is, where are we at in the stream of time, right? Do people want someone that actually can heal them? Because if you remember the story about, a man who came and helped heal people, long story, long ago, obviously that was a thing. But let's focus forward, right? Will there ever come a day where that type of healing can take place? I'd like to think, why not, right? Science and technology is able to do a lot as of late. And I think because of it, I'm hoping that we come to a good understanding on where we are in the stream of time. And, currently, it's just not what happens here on planet Earth. And on Earth, vaccines are good when they get perfected, but even there's some vaccines that actually don't help people. So, who's the person that spreads the virus to begin with? That's terrible. Then you got to figure out, A, what does it do? B, how to help rid people of it. And then C, start applying it, right? So there's a lot of viruses out there that people, sometimes come up with all of a sudden by accident in a laboratory, and then others that create really bad ones and hurt and harm and maim others. And then there's some that are so planned that it's sad. Throughout time, there's been ones that take viruses and mutate them to hold them into a storage bin, and then they want to release it so that they want to kill everybody other than their own kind. That's been going on since forever. And who do you have to help on the flip side say, no, we don't do that. We got to stay alive, people. We got to stay alive. Whatever you are living, in whatever life you're living, obviously you got to want to stay alive, and you don't want somebody else to take out your whole tribe or people or whatever that is. So just be careful, people. Seriously, there are some that are just creating things that they shouldn't be creating, only to hurt other species. And I mean, there are bats, there are other mammals that they cross mutate things to hurt one another. And it's terrible. This coronavirus on Earth is even worse because it goes around cross breeds, right? It actually is one of those that they have proven goes into cats, goes into dogs, goes into mammals. And so we need to be able to save all of the species because this coronavirus it's a terrible virus. So we have to be able to figure out, at the very end, there's a lot of vaccines that are coming out here on Earth to try to help people. And, I always say, don't throw caution in the wind. You never know which one's good, which one's bad. And sometimes you got to just be like, okay, you got to weather the storm, so to speak. You got to wait it out. I had a conversation lately with a family friend, and I said, look, don't take the first one that comes out. It's just like, a computer virus, right? If a computer virus, all of a sudden you get an update and you get certain viruses that are meant for the computer, you got to kind of wait it out and see if it's going to create a problem. A lot of us have a mobile device, such as, this. It's my mobile device. And, I got multiple different ones, but they run on different operating systems. And unfortunately, there are people that create really bad viruses for a computer program, and they make it crash. They make it want, maybe they want to spy in on somebody. Maybe they want to do things that they're like, it's just not going to be good for people. And they do so, and not to help them, but to hurt them. And I know it's a thing, but computer viruses, human viruses, other viruses, you just have to keep ever at the ready. You have to have a team ready to go to say, whoa, let's not, A, let's track it. B, let's find the source of it. Who are the people that are trying to create really evil things to help hurt either a species, either a computer program, or both? Because if computer programs start going offline, now who ends up suffering? You get it? So there's a lot of smart people that are more good than bad. And then there's some people that just love to be evil and never want to be good ever. And so they just think, oh, my way is the highway, not knowing you're actually killing off the rest of people. And what if it mutates and then hurts you in the end? So then you end up hurting yourself in the end anyway. So it's just terrible. It's a terrible situation to be in, but it's been happening for quite some time. And I hope it stops sooner than later. It's got to stop. We got to keep each other living, moving forward, and happy. We got to keep happy. All right, let's see. Let's scroll down. Keep going. All right. I want to talk about something that actually is very important. Being grateful. How can you be grateful if you have a very terrible existence, right? And what I mean by that is sometimes we focus on reality, and reality for us is not easy. It's not easy. Sometimes people are going through things. There's harm being put in certain parts of the land. There's war. There's people that want to cause a lot of bad, evil things I don't even want to really say. Some people it's just bad. And as much as I want to bring out each and every situation that could possibly happen to somebody, it is kind of a situation where we think, well, is it that easy to say, what are you grateful for? Sometimes it's not. It's just not. But it's better than the alternative of taking your own life. So sometimes you have to start with a very simple thing before you get to the more profound things. Does that make sense? Some people want the fix, the general fix of how do I make my life great, amazing, overnight. But sometimes it doesn't work that way. Sometimes it starts with yourself, and sometimes it starts with the choices that you either make for yourself and or others. Because sometimes the choices that you make for yourself, in the end, you could have a perfect existence. Everything's going great, everything's going wonderful, but then all of a sudden you make a personal choice. You go, yeah, I'm done with that. That was, not that great. Sometimes people act like that. And then on the flip side, others are like, no, give me a better life because this life is terrible, right? But then some would argue, well, if you were given a great life, what would you do with it? And sometimes in the struggles that we all have to go through, I myself included, I've gone through so many struggles. I wish life would just instantly turn, hey, all of a sudden everybody, has a great time. That's what I wish for all the time. Is it possible in the future? I believe it is. If it were possible right here, right now, I'd ask for it right now. Shoot, I'd be like, can we at least get paid for what we do? At least. Because you got to pay for stuff, rent. You got to pay for rent here on Earth. So it's a thing. Look. But there you go. All right. So how do you be grateful at the end of the day? You just have to ask yourself, what are 3 things? Or start off even with just 2. If you can't think of 3, I've had conversations in the past with people that have admitted to me, yeah, I'm ready almost. Sorry, that's a unwanted call known as a telemarketer. Telemarketers need to make money, but not during the morning show. The reality is, look, a lot of people, unfortunately, have a hard time in their life, no matter what it is. They have a hard time, and they feel that because nobody loves them, Nobody cares about them. Nobody wants them to be happy. They don't realize that there's a lot of people behind the scenes that sometimes are so busy with life. Actually, they do care, because all of a sudden, if all of a sudden they did take their life, all of a sudden they probably see it from a different vantage point, known as whatever that life is, and say, no, is that really what you thought? Yeah. Look at this. And then, I would think that, the creator would say, there were a lot of people that actually were sad that you ended up disappearing. Really? How come they never told me? They were too busy. They thought you'd be around forever. Oh, but nobody told me that. Sometimes people don't speak their mind always. They don't talk to you about how they appreciate you when you were alive. Oh. And then that person says, well, can I go back? And the creator goes, it's kind of difficult for you to go back. Your body's already gone on that earth. Oh, got it. Well, then. So suicide is not an answer, people. It's a terrible situation. Once you leave that body and that body is gone, what are you going to do with that? So I always try to get to people before they get to that moment and or during that moment. And I've had quite a few which have called and said, hey, going through a hard time right now. And you can't be like, hey, let's be grateful for stuff. Da, 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 da. No, you got to listen. You got to be like, okay. And then you have to get it at its source. And sometimes there are situations you can't solve right away. You just can't. Somebody grieves from a lost loved one. But the hope is keep moving forward. Don't give up. Don't give up. And so a good solution I like to help people with, usually at the very end of it, as long as I can try to help. And sometimes it's just listening. It's not offering, hey, let me help you fix it. It's called, because you can still fix the situation, but then another really bad moment happens and all of a sudden they want to end their life again. So you have to start changing the thinking process behind it. Why do you always go to that moment of wanting to just end your life, right? And oftentimes I have found it is for the very simple reason that you have to go to the opposite end. Sometimes people's mindsets completely is focused on a quick solution, when in reality there is no quick solution. Sometimes you have to muscle through it. Sometimes you have to pull through it. And sometimes, hopefully, if you pull through it, given enough time, you say, you know what, I'm glad I did. Because then there are days that are blessings. There are days that come up and you go, oh, I actually like my life. I know there's a lot of moments in my life, which I have always said to people, there was a time in my life I was ready to end it. I was. But every time I meet somebody and or find some new knowledge or find something really good to believe in, I go, that's a blessing. That is a blessing. I used to get really happy about it. And then lately I'm kind of like, well, it's because, life is difficult. But at the end of the day, I do take a little moment and go, well, what was a good thing that happened out of that? Okay, good. Let's go forward. Let's not go backward. And if we're going to go backward, let's learn from our backward moments, right? But if we're going to go forward in life, we got to move forward in life, and we got to do so in such a way that we just say, you know what? I'm gonna weather the storm. I'm gonna weather the storm, whatever storm that is. There's a hurricane in a particular portion of the planet, and what do you do when you hear a hurricane broadcast? Right? Hurricane's going to come. It's going to wipe out all of humanity. No. Hurricanes come, but they create a lot of damage, a lot of flooding, a lot of destruction, terror, mayhem. But there's something we have to deal with on planet Earth, right? So what do? You have the broadcast. The broadcast comes out, tells people, hey, category 5 might be coming, which is the worst one. If it's a 3 and under, it's a little bit more manageable. But lately we've had a lot more 5s and 4s than ever before on planet Earth. Well, what's causing that? Weather systems. Weather systems can be really bad, very, very difficult, because you got, so many things going on. You got environments that are toxic. You got people, creating energy sources that are harming the planet. It's true. But what do we hear? We hear, oh, don't worry about it. It's like, you know, live life for you. It's never going to move forward. That's the mentality. To which I say, let's hope it moves forward and let's start healing. Let's not keep hurting. Do I think that the planet can help heal itself given the right circumstances and or the people on it that are currently wanting to keep it safe for all of humanity? Yeah, I believe so. There's so many people that have theories out there. And they have theories on different ways the earth might die, right? To which I say, you know what? Better to be thinking than not. Will it always happen that way? I don't know, maybe. So let's start pulling together all of our resources to keep our planet from dying. We don't want our planet dying. We could learn a lot from each other to be able to, I don't know, renewable energy sources, for example, that don't create harm to this planet, right? I'm not going to say which ones are all harmful because it's not for me. I don't know that science entirely. I just don't. I have to do research. I do know of certain ones of renewable energy that are quite good, but there are others that are just hurting people. But what is that? Greed. More money. Give me money. Give me money. Right? So whatever that source is, again, try to look more for that. I used to sell solar panels, believe it or not. I didn't do very well at it because it got to the point where people were bombarded, called by either on a cell phone or a device, mobile device, and they'd be like, oh, okay, do you want, we can lower your utility bills with this new technology. And if you do it, it'll lower your bills. Instead of just saying, hey, let's help out everybody, because coming forward, like if we don't implement this renewable energy known as a solar panel, which harnessed the energy rays coming from the sun that were already there, converted them into energy for the planet, well, it actually powers up the planet in a really great way. I once read an article that if you put a bunch of solar power places there and you were able to put them into like a desert or a place unoccupied by people, and you generate it from the sun, all of a sudden you'd be able to create more energy on the planet for everybody around the world. And I read that article and I thought, I wonder if that's true. That's interesting. I wonder if people could actually do that if you had the right person to say, look, I think we need to work together. But lately, what I see on the planet is just people saying, nope, let's live for ourselves, make our money, and do more bad than good instead of helping heal the planet. I'd like to think that there's a future coming up that where maybe there are technologies where, okay, people can make money because you got to, currency, it's a thing here on the human planet. But you got to make it so that it's a win-win for everybody, right? If you make it not a win-win, then you got people going, oh, don't do that because I'm not going to make any money, right? I got to make money. I got to put people back to work. It's a trade of currency that, Earth is currently doing. I would love to think that there was a time where before currency, people just did things for the right reason, right? Instead of going, how can you help me? How can I help you? How can I help me? And it was just, I would love to think, there's a higher intelligence that says, you know what, I'm just doing it because it's the right thing. I keep talking about Star Trek and I like that show. There's certain ones I don't care for, and then there's other ones I do care for, but it makes me think, if there were like a particular species, right, that were so evolved that they were like, we're peaceful, we're loving, we're just trying to help you out. You're like, well, how much is that I got to pay? It's trying to help you out. You were dying, so pay. Do good. That's what we do. We don't want payment for it. Oh, really? Yeah. We help each other out. And then there's other civilizations that I'm like, I could understand, or I don't remember if you remember that there were all different types of ones, very greedy ones. You remember them? They were called on Star Trek, I think it was the New Generation, the Ferengi, right? You couldn't trust the Ferengi, unfortunately, because they were always double-sided, right? They'd be like, okay, I can give you this, yeah, but I really want this. And then they make double deals. That was never good, right? And then you had certain ones that were on the ship that were always, they were just trying to help out. And good series. Next Generation was one of my favorite ones. And then there were some other ones that were a little less meh. But the Next Generation I always liked because it showed different personalities of different, alien species and or highly evolved or lower evolved species. You rarely had the higher evolved species always be kind and usually they were very very high and mighty. And you go, okay, that's okay, be high and mighty, but can you help us out? And they're like, sure, human. I'll help you out for now. And they give a new technology to the human species because the human species tends to always be the dumb one in the room. But look, in reality, I think all of us just need to focus, hopefully, on where we're going. And if you have the ability to do some good, maybe you have an idea and or a thought, maybe it's a cool technology in your head and you're like, that'd be cool. That would help people out. Start thinking about things that help people out. They say if you think of one thing that actually helps out a lot of people, who knows? You might be really valued, in such a way because you were thinking of other people rather than saying, hey, what's good only for me? There we go. What helps me help others? That's a good question. What helps me, if you're going to point it to yourself? Because let's face it, there's certain things I always think about, certain things that I do each and every day. And I go, there's got to be an easier way to do that. Some people say you're lazy. I always say, no, it's just, there's certain things that when you think about, you got to think there's got to be an easier way to do that. That way we can have more time to either A, do something else or put our brain to use in some other way. There's so many things that I have to do each and every day. I'm like, man, there's got to be an easier way, right? But I just don't have the technology and or the wherewithal to be able to put it into play just right here and right now. We're just not there on Earth. But, I would imagine that there's other ones that, are very smart, the Einsteins of the world, the Teslas of the world, the super geniuses, right? That go, oh, wait, I could do that like this. And then they get with another one. Well, okay. And how do we make that happen? People have all different ideas of space and what that is. But man, Apollo, right? Do you guys remember that movie? Apollo, all of a sudden, Houston, we have a problem. And it took all of the smart minds to be able to come together and say, okay, how do we figure this out? And they created a little box to be able to create oxygen from not only leaking, I think it was carbon dioxide was actually increasing, unfortunately. And in order to save, I think it was only 3 on Apollo, they made this contraption out of just stuff. And they go like, well, how can we do this? Right? And you put all the people together in a room, like, okay, well, okay, well, that doesn't work. Well, and they were up against time. And all of a sudden, they figure it out. All the smart people in the room, you're like, thank you. They're like, yes, we figured it out. But you figure it out together. There's not just one person that figures it out all the time. Sometimes it takes multiple smart people that want to do the right thing. Remember, they were rallying. And if you haven't seen Apollo, you should go check it out. Good film. Because at the end of the day, Houston, we have a problem was a Mayday call. We got a problem here. Need help. He's, remember, played by Tom Hanks. Houston, we have a problem. We got some stuff going on here, right? He was a little kind of panicking, but trying to be the, leader in charge. Then he's got his crew members going, right? And they get upset at each other, get mad and angry. They got little feuds, but at the end of the day, Houston, we have a problem. Love Tom Hanks. Great guy. Always takes roles that are very, very difficult. But at the end of the day, sometimes in our lives, we have our own problem, right? Now, the planet has its own problems as well. And I would imagine whatever problem you have that you're currently undergoing, there's smart people that you just got to reach out to. In the movie, of course, he calls out to NASA, and NASA has a lot of smart people in the room. And that was at a time of our history where we were doing some space exploration, right? Just trying to get to the moon. Just the moon. That's the next planet over, right? It's a little tiny thing that goes around our world. And you wonder, can we get there? But fast forward, do we visit the moon anymore, or do we just take it for granted? But just to get there was a process. How many lives had to suffer died in the process just to get there. Sad. But at the end of the day, history will remember life is grand eventually. I hope. There's so many people that explore and seek out to find new civilization or new life somewhere else, not because planet Earth just isn't there yet. Would I love to see like a planet Earth actually be in that way where, we have gotten to the point where there is a space exploration? I don't know if we're there yet. In Star Trek, you have a lot of ones taking out others through laser beams and or photon torpedoes or whatever the device was that they had, And then you had other ones that didn't understand their race. So they're like, what are you doing in our airspace? You're like, whoa, we're peaceful. That's our prime directive. We're meant to be peaceful. But then sometimes you saw the Star Trek characters have to go against toe-to-toe with others. Well, I don't think we're there yet. I certainly would hope that we're peaceful and we stay peaceful. If anything, we need better defenses against those that would suffer us harm. Hopefully there's species out there that are never wanting to cause harm on this little planet, right? But there you go. All right, people, let's see. I'm going to scroll up. Let's see some other people that are talking here. I like this. Rosalie says, I love that saying. If you were left with the only things you were grateful for today, what would you have? Great question. You guys type that out. Let us know. What would you have if you were left with the only things you were grateful for today? Imagine being stuck at home, seriously, and not able to go out because of a coronavirus lockdown, right? Or maybe there's another situation, whatever that is. Comes up, you're stuck, maybe you're sick. You're like, oh, I got to get better. Okay, give it a week. For some, it's been with coronavirus a month and a half, trying to isolate so that they don't get sick. There are people that are extremely already, they get coronavirus, they're more likely to die than to get well. And that's sad. Sad. But what would you have? Let us know in comments there. Let's see, Diana. I'm grateful for today and given an opportunity to be with those that are here today. See that? I like that. All right, let's see here. Appreciate yourself and others, Algenia says. I like that. Let's see. Okay, I think Diana, a little typo there, but I'm pretty sure I know what the typo is. That's easy. We all need to get along. Get it? Get along. I think be present to the beauty of existence and the beauty of others. Right, Diana? All right, Downey in the house. Appreciate you. And all right. And look, for those of you that currently have the ability to, make a call or visit, I get it. It's technology is pretty amazing. Sometimes you get to check in on others and see if they're safe. But, look, we have to at least remember we're not alone. You're never alone. You're just not. None of you are alone. Okay? At the end of the day, whether we are in the same room or not, oh, wait, there's others. And sometimes I feel with some people, they get so isolated in a room or a house or a building or wherever they're at, even people that are number crunchers, right? Or scientists. There's some people that are good just being alone, like, because they focus on technology and they're just good with that. But there's almost a little human interaction that is so necessary. And there's an interaction that is necessary up to a point, but sometimes they have a project that they have a deadline on, so they got to focus on that. So sometimes being able to visit with others is impossible, right? But you'd hope that person would have somewhat of a life to be able to, okay, I completed the mission. Good. All right. Whatever it is, move forward and let's have some time with loved ones, right? Give you an example. Sometimes I try to have family time with just my mom, right? And sometimes I can't. Things come up, things I got to do. And, it's like, but when I do, I like it, right? Spend some time if you can. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes you're busy. Sometimes people don't understand how busy you are behind the scenes, but that's okay. So focus on doing the right thing, people. We appreciate you. All right. Let's see. There's something I do want to discuss, though. And it is this. We all are, how do I put it? We're all wanting to do what's right. Or are we? I'd love to think we all are people wanting to do what's right. But there's a certain amount of sometimes. Here's what I don't think. I don't think there's nobody that wants to do what's right. I think at the end of the day, there are some that just want to, do whatever they want. They don't care. And I say, you know what? Good. If that makes you happy, keep doing that. But I'm thinking, especially here on Earth, there are a lot of people, smart-minded people, and even people that don't know they're smart. There are people being born every day that because they're told they won't amount to much, they're told they can't do much, they're told they're nothing. There are some families out there, which I always say to parents, don't ever minimize what your children have the ability to do. You never know how smart and or intelligent they are. You just don't. And if you minimize what they're really good at, you stop their growth in the brain of focusing on things that they're really good at. And when you stop that, you suddenly create a problem for them for life. And what I mean by that is, there's a lot of smart children being born each and every day. And they're given the keys to be able to help one another. Meaning there's certain things in their head that if they explore it, not everybody's a scientist, not everybody's a chemist, not everybody's a engineer, not everybody's a whatever you want to call it. But if you focus on the youth to help them out, throughout time, they'll start to focus on things that they really love, whatever that is. Granted, they need to have a life. They need to love life, and they want to, appreciate the relationships that they're in. It's not all work and no fun, right? But when you think of those that actually get motivated to do what's right from the very beginning, and then couple that with, hey, what do you enjoy doing? What do you enjoy focusing on? Well, let's do more of that. And then maybe, you can see what other things that they really enjoy as well. And all of a sudden they go, oh, I like that too. I didn't know I like that too. Maybe it's something creative. Maybe they like to, draw or whatever it is. Growing up, I like to do a lot of things, right? I like to draw. I never made it a profession. Could I have? Maybe. I like to, I like a lot of things. I love to act. That was a big thing. Do I love to talk a lot? When I was growing up at the age of 8, not really. I was shy. I was super shy. I didn't like to talk. I didn't like to talk. 9, 10, 11, 12, I think I had to come out of my comfort zone because my comfort zone is just, that was me at the age of 10. Somebody said, read a book. It might help you out. It was just how to, honestly, win friends. I had no friends. I had a hard time at school. And because I had a hard time at school, I didn't know how to communicate with other people. And because I didn't know how to communicate, they actually didn't know how to communicate back. So I was just kind of there going through life. Was I smart? I like to think so. But was I not the best at communicating? Honestly, I wasn't. And so I had to go read a book that would help me, help my mind to say, oh, okay. I see how people think a little bit clearly. And one of the things that I remember reading in that was such a simple, profound moment. It really just helped me out. Sometimes people just, the word that is so important to them is their own name. Because they got to hear it all the time, right? And when they hear it, and they hear it, and they hear it, and they hear it, and they hear it. And then suddenly you mispronounce it, and they go, oh, hopefully they forgive you. But if you keep mispronouncing it after some time, people get a little upset. Do you have a name that people just cannot pronounce and they never struggle to remember it? I know a lot of people, and sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. I've been dumb. And I feel dumb in that moment because I know that is a word for them. So sometimes I say, well, what, people get different nicknames all of a sudden, right? And they just accept it. And they're okay with it, right? They've learned to be okay with it. But for others, the majority, you say their name wrong. If you don't, there's so many different languages out there. I say, can you say it the way it's meant to be said? And then I try to repeat it. And if I botch it up, I'm just like, I'm sorry. I don't know. I don't know your dialect, right? And they go, no, it's okay. Nobody can pronounce my name. I go, oh, let me try. I did that recently with somebody. And she had a very, which was like Katja van der Linden. I think that's the way she says it. But, so I appreciate those that are forgiving. But it's such a simple thing for some people, just trying to remember their name and saying it in a way that makes them feel good. You acknowledge the person in front of you. You don't go, oh, what that? Now, I do that a lot sometimes because I got 20 different things I'm thinking. But I always want to be that person that's very present in the moment. You're having a conversation with me. I'm having a conversation with you. But sometimes I'm thinking 20 different things all at once because I'm like, the moment we end, I got to do something really quick. So I'm trying to figure out how to do that. And then I'm trying to speak to the person in front of me. And it's difficult to be very present in the moment. And if you could be present in the moment with the person that's in front of you and you get to have alone time with that person, whether they're a friend, a family member, and or a love interest, whatever it is, try to be present. That's the second very necessary thing that I learned in this book. And I learned in this book that you got to show an interest in others. If you want the answer to the very end of it, you don't want to read the whole book. It was just be interested in others. And if you're interested in others, you'll find more out about them. Do you think you're the smart one in the room? Don't think you're always, and sometimes you are the smart one in the room, but don't think it. Because then you start acting, I'm the smart one. I can't learn anything from these people. Right? I never wanted to be that person. Really. Sometimes I feel like that. But I try to remind myself, no, somebody in the room needs help. And usually it's everybody. Once you get your personalities out of the way, what I mean by that is some people go into a room and they're kind of like, all right, people need to know me. And I know because I've done it. I have way back. Okay, let's see. And it was usually not who needed to know me. It was who do I need to know in order to help me? But I kind of think it's the same thing, right? Sometimes we don't think of ourselves that way. Sometimes you have to just be honest. And there were times where I think, yeah, I was probably that person in the room. And I'd leave and I go, okay, because my goal, honestly, was always to collect 3 business cards. You know why that was my goal? I was shy. I don't know what other people are thinking. I don't know if they care to talk to me because I go back to my 8-year-old self. People don't like me. It's okay. But I wasn't okay with it. Sometimes some people, they want to be liked. They don't know how to be liked. Does that make sense? And some say, well, that's kind of weak. You should be confident about being the smart person in the room. And I say, you should be. But that gets developed over time. Where does that start? With the youth. With the youth. You have to be mindful of the youth. Some people say, shut up to the little kid. Oh my God, you just told a little kid to shut up? Wow. That's a process in their mind now that they're thinking, okay, I'm going to stay shut up. That's terrible. Because now you stumped them. And now they're always quiet. What if they have a good outgoing personality? They like to talk. They like to meet people. But now they just think, oh. I remember I had a friend who always just would say, it was sad. He would say all kinds of things about himself. And I'm just like, you can't keep doing that. You keep doing that. You believe it. You believe, I don't do anything right. Well, doesn't mean you have the ability not to do something. Oh, no. They believe in that so much. You can't believe in just everything people tell you that brings you down. And if you're the person, the one putting other people down, you got to ask, well, why are you putting people down? There must be something in your past that made you want to put other people down to help you feel better about yourself, right? Because it's always that at the end of the day. You don't want to feel bad about yourself. You want to feel better about yourself. Some people are so locked in on making other people feel bad about themselves. I go, where did they go wrong in their life that they felt that that was the right way to be? I had to start from somewhere. So at the end of the day, you have to remember this. Sometimes we put ourselves first and other people always last. Okay. And I've met people like that. And secretly behind the scenes, other people are like, yeah, I'd rather not hang out with that person. Right? There's some very smart people that are out there, and they forget about the other people around them. And they forget about the other people, and they go, yeah, I don't know. People are dumb. They're all dumb. I think there are people that choose to be dumb. And then there's others that I say, hey, you might be dumb in that moment. It doesn't mean you can't be smart, because I use those words. And I've used those words to help people say, don't be the dumb person in the room. And what I mean by that is level yourself up. Start thinking of yourself in a better way so as to know that you probably have some really good intelligence in your head. And then hopefully it's coupled with wanting to do what's right. Because I see a lot of people that have intelligence in their head, but they just want to cause harm. It's sad. It's true. But can it be, hopefully fixed in the end? I don't know. I don't think it happens overnight. I think it takes a process. And for everybody, it's different. Whatever their why is, why am I here? Why am I wanting to get along with others? Why do I want to help the world? Why do I want to help people? Why am I wanting to be a better person than I was yesterday? Because I thought I was good. Are you happy? No. There's the answer. Oh, yeah, I get it now. So I say very basic and elementary things. And I know there are smart people in the room. I know you're probably very intelligent, so intelligent. I just talk about things that are very basic, because then there's always a profound fact in it that helps move forward rather than get stuck. Don't get stuck, okay? If you get stuck and you don't move forward, then you're never advancing yourself. I don't know how long I have to live, to be honest. But whatever days I have, I got to make the best of them, right? And sometimes it's no fun. It's all work. And then every now and then there's some fun and no work, which is important for certain people. You have to have a good balance, right? Whatever that work is, or whatever that mission is, or whatever it is for you, have a good balance. For a lot of people, a family is a balance, whether it be your father, your mother. Maybe you don't need a significant other. Maybe you're pretty good about that. Maybe it's a niece, a nephew. Maybe you're the only child. Now it's your friends that are like family, right? You adopt them as family. Sometimes, and some people grow up as orphans, and they look at certain people in their life and they go, you look kind of like a father figure to me. You're kind of like a mother figure to me, but we always go back to family. Why? And we adopt certain people as, you're like a sister to me. Huh. You're like a brother to me. Some people excel when they're like an uncle or an aunt, because now they have oh man, I'm never going to be a parent, but I'm going to take care of you just like my own little one, right? And that helps them out move forward, because now they go, oh, I got to be responsible for a young one. It's true. For a long time, I didn't think in, ways of being a role model. To be honest, my sister with special needs, I didn't have to think, am I a role model? But sometimes I see little ones. You have to remind them, especially if they have different ages. You say, you got a little one looking up at you. And because they're looking up at you, they're looking at you, and they're building their whole world around what you do. You do something wrong, they're going to think, I could do something wrong. Very rarely do the young ones just do exactly the opposite of what the person that they think is older than them, right? So if you're a parent, if you're an older brother, an older sister, an older anything, and you have a little one looking up to you that loves you, niece, nephew, adopted child. There's a lot of fatherless and or motherless kids out there. Some have fathers and mothers, but they've done so much bad to their kids. They're in a foster care system waiting for a new family. It's sad. There are so many children, orphans, that do not have families, that need families. And whatever that is, however that is for you, do you have the ability? Maybe you don't. Maybe you're not that person, but maybe you're the person that, you're so alone. And, okay, I'll give you an example. One time I was shopping, and this lady we were talking to, she was selling this really cool new product and service. Really nice. So kind. So kind. I think she was around 53, to be honest. And she says, because we were talking about kids, and she saw the little one, and I think he was there. Maybe we were just talking about kids. I don't remember. But the conversation somehow started to evolve into, she goes, I love kids. I never got to have kids. Really? You never got to have kids? Why not? Just, career oriented. I do this, but I just kind of gave up on that. I said, well, there's always adoption. Yeah, I thought about that, but I don't know. There's a lot of problems that go along with that. There's a lot of kids, because on the morning show, that's why I love the morning show. It opens up even my mind to go, let's think about things that, we may not be used to. And I asked her, I said, well, what have you considered it? There's all different ages. Well, I don't know that I'd be good as a parent with the little baby. Well, there's teenagers. Huh. There's youth of all different types. You know what? I didn't ever think about that, she said. Maybe consider it. I think you'd be a really good parent. I bet you're pretty good with other kids as well. She goes, yeah, I am. Very humble lady. And look, the U.S. government does help out. If you are able to adopt, they do help out financially. But some people do it for just the money. They don't do it because they want to. You see what I'm saying? There's always two sides to the coin. But I'm hopefully focusing on people that want to do what's right. Not profit from it, but do it because they love to. There's a movie called Shazam. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. Very interesting movie. DC. Is that DC or Marvel? I believe it's DC. Yeah, DC, because Superman and Shazam are similar, but different. And Shazam, at the very beginning, if you watch it, I'm not going to tell you the whole story, but there is a family and there's a boy who's an orphan. Lost his mom a long time ago. He's just trying to find his mother, but he lives alone. Just trying to find his mom. But in the meantime, he gets adopted by a family. And there's a little girl. She goes, brother, the moment she meets him, because to her, she has nobody else. And she just adopts everybody else as her brother, right? And then there's one that adopts, she wants to be just the sister, the older sister. But, they're not related, obviously. So there's a little love interest there. I'm not going to spoil the ending on that. But at the end of the day, they're like an adopted family. And it was the two parents in this that it struck out at me. It was a very good storyline on Shazam. And the two were like, yeah, we come from that system. So we met and we want to create a family because it's just the right thing to do. They didn't say it, but they felt it. So sometimes we all have to remember there are so many people. There are so many people out there that just need love. Maybe you don't adopt them. Maybe you help out another parent. Maybe they're a single parent. You just, hey, don't be a pedophile. Don't be that person, right? I'm always cautious of the person that wants to help out little kids. I am. And there's bad stories about that. But my point is, if you're always there with the family member and never mind. There's so many bad people out there. Forget that. So many bad people. This is nobody good out there that does that. So forget that. Just take that away from your memory. But, if you're the aunt or uncle, there's bad aunts and uncles. Oh, my goodness. There's so many. You know what? Look. I guess it's rare. I guess it is rare. I guess from an early age in my life, I remember my first marriage. Okay. I was married pretty young, 19. And, for us, that's young, but, we would always help out other parents with their kids, right? Help them out, help them grow. Don't be too hard on them. Be kind, because sometimes parents need help. I remember parents coming to me, hey, can you help Johnny? Yeah, sure. And, he was going through things. And I remember other ones. There's a family of 4. I didn't even know what was going on behind the scenes with the father. I had no idea. But every time I'd come over and we'd have, an hour and a half. And at the time I was teaching them the Bible stories and different stories. And I think it was only maybe, I don't even remember what age I was for that. Maybe 15. I don't even remember. But trying to help them out, I just remember their faces lighting up, and, we would do Bible stories and teaching of Bible stories. So we had this program where we would do it and we'd say, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Get them to think. I wasn't always regular because there were 4 of them, and I had other people that I had to visit and teach them the Bible and learn about things. I'd pray often. I'd do a very religious guy. I grew up as, and at the end of the day, I just wanted people to help out others, right? At the end of the day, that's all it was really meant to. Whether they believed or didn't believe, I don't think any of those kids ever became the religion I was in. But at the end of the day, there were principles that were very basic. And it's those principles that are, although very basic, are very profound. I remember meeting one later on. He goes, wait a minute, you're Aaron. You used to come to our house. I go, Adrian? Or was it Cesar? I think it was Adrian. Maybe it was Cesar. I don't remember. So long ago. But I just remember it all of a sudden happening. And I was just like, he says, yeah, my older brother. He told me a story. And anyway, fast forward. But I started from a very young age babysitting other people's kids. I didn't know why. I'd babysit though, and get paid $20 and, be happy for it. But at the end of the day, look, one of them actually looked me up and said, hey, that's me. I go, oh, how you doing now? I've had others go, hey, remember me? I go, yeah, how you doing now? I almost feel now like a grandparent because they have kids. But I've never had my own children. But I've always adopted other kids now, and I'm thinking about all of them right now because it comes second nature. But there's a lot of people not like that. But maybe you're an aunt or an uncle, okay? Or maybe you're a teen who is, you want to help out other kids. Maybe you're at least the person that says, look, maybe you're a family friend. Maybe you're a friend. Maybe you're a youth. I don't know if I'm talking to any teens on this show. I think everybody's a certain category of age, but you grow up, you live life, and you want to help the people in your life. Whatever age you are. You could do that at any age. I remember being 8 and I give advice to, I don't know why I was always that guy. I was a boy always giving, hey, I think you should do that. I think I was a little too dogmatic as a little kid though. I was that kid that I remember my teacher said this. He's a good leader, but he gets upset when people just don't do the right thing. I remember reading that and I felt, and I think I was in 4th grade, maybe 3rd grade. And I just thought, that's terrible. I'm a terrible human being. Great leader, but I get upset. And I thought about it going, yeah, I could get impatient. Don't be impatient with people around your circle. It's hard not to be impatient when you know what you need to do. But I have to work on that. I'm constantly working on it. But whatever you're working on, just remember this. We're in it together. So sometimes you have to help your own personality and say, how can I make myself a little bit more, bring the best out in others? How can I bring the best out in whoever I'm speaking with? Well, it's number one, remembering you're not the only one in the world. You're not the circle of attention. You need to help others around the world. In your inner circle, your outer circle. I have a really good platform called online that I can broadcast and send out things to people. So yay, I get to do that now. And I don't know every one of you. Some of you do send me messages about your lives. And sometimes I can't get to everybody. But I would love, like, if there were ever a day where I was slow, give me your problem. How can we fix that? But it just doesn't always work that way, But I enjoy it. You know why? A, it's free. It doesn't, I don't, some people pay for a psychology. Hey, psychologist, nothing against it. My point is, oftentimes I just help people out for free, right? But do you help people out for free every now and then? Maybe you should. Maybe you're really good at it. Maybe you can help people out with whatever they need help with. And if you do it, man, does that make you feel good? A lot of people I don't speak to for years, and then all of a sudden they say, hey, do you remember? I go, I probably don't. Can you remind me? And then they say a certain level of, oh, yeah. I kind of remember that. Yeah. Well, what'd you do with that? Oh, man, I actually went ahead and made something of my life. Really? Good. And in my heart, I go, thank you for telling me that. Because sometimes it comes at the moments that I am just like, oh, man, my life right now. But you never know the impact you have. Little, sometimes incrementally, sometimes very big, sometimes very profound. Sometimes you have a family, sometimes you don't. I know I've been talking about family, and there's people out there that are like, I don't have a family. What are you talking about? But, maybe you're a single person. Maybe you're a father, a mother, maybe your wife left you. Maybe you're, whatever your situation is, maybe you are alone. Maybe you're elderly and your kids left you. But focus on these very simple things. What can I do to help those around me? And look for the opportunities. Yesterday I talked about something about happy. What is happy for you? Did you ask yourself today, what makes you happy? Ask yourself that. This is a little kind reminder. If this is your first time here, just remember, hopefully it won't be your last, but what makes you happy? Start with that. Okay, that's number one. Number two, keep asking that. If it's something simple, is there a particular food item I haven't had in a while that makes me happy? Okay. Is it a particular, I don't know, hobby or thing that I like to do? Okay. Maybe it's watching a show. We talk about entertainment a lot. I have not had a chance to watch a lot of entertainment at all. I want to get caught up on some stuff, but I don't have the time. Very busy. But maybe for you, you can spend some time watching, I don't know, something that makes you think differently, help you out. Maybe it's sci-fi. I love sci-fi, science fiction, about stories that help you out, help your mind expand, right? I've met a lot of engineers. Sorry, as my Android evidently was listening. I've met a lot of engineers throughout life. I once met, this was a really cool moment for me, where I met one of the original Star Trek ones. That was one of the actresses. She goes, you know what? She's so happy. So happy. And she said, I think I asked her, what do you love most about it? It was a very general, basic question. She says, I've met so many engineers and scientists that just used to watch things, and now we have things because of them. Our show was just a fun show to watch, but we helped others start thinking, how can I make that happen? There were a lot of ones that were kids watching that show, but when they grew up, they became engineers, they became chemists, they became space explorers, or they want to explore space. Sometimes they can't, but they love the idea of there's more beyond our world, whatever world we live in, whatever that is. It inspired in them to go, when I grow up, maybe I can do that. To which I say, good job. And I met engineers and I met scientists and people that are very smart. And sometimes I wonder where they got the idea from. Sometimes it's as simple as a good movie or a good flick, a good series. Earlier Jesse talked about some Starship Troopers, it's a movie, right? Godzilla, it's a movie, imagine. Some people take movies literally. Don't ever take a movie literally. It's just a story. But we have all kinds of stories, right? And some people come up with new stories. Peter Pan, right? Never Land. Fantasy, not real. But wouldn't it be cool if we had a real fantasy land like that where you could fly, right? I believe. That'd be cool. But a good story to tell at bedtime. Has little elements of truth in it. Helps you think differently. Don't be Captain Hook. Arr, right? Anyway. All right. Well, I'm out of time. It's been a good one. If I'm going to leave you with anything, I'm going to leave you with this, I hope. If you're still here, don't let it be your last, okay? And if you want to comment social media, please do. And if you don't, that's fine as well. But I do hope at the end of the day, you just remember this. I always say it, but I really mean it. I say, I'm not even going to say that anymore. I feel like some people are kind of over it. Maybe I should replace it with something else. Maybe I should say, whatever life you live it well. Bye-bye, everyone.